In this demonstration, we're now going to take our very first look at GCP. So let's head over to our web browser to begin. And here I am in my web browser and I'm logged into GCP at console.cloud.google.com. And don't worry about those URLs. We do have a lecture which explains all the different links and ways to access Google. But the first thing you'll see is when we log in, we get access to this project page. And on the top, I'm in this project now called Network Demo. And I can go about creating a new project, which again, we'll get into more details later. This is just going to be a quick overview, but I'll just call this test project for now. And we'll create that. And now once that spins up, you'll see this notification screen on the right hand side. We can then access that new project and all of our resources, everything we do around identity access management. In most cases, everything focuses around a project specifically. Now let's take a look around the platform itself. So on the top left is our menu button. This is our navigation menu. You've got things like the marketplace to begin with. The marketplace is where you can basically like purchase and use services from third parties as well and deploy those. So there's solutions that are ready to be deployed on top of the GCP platform. If I scroll further down, we also have Bill-in. This is also something we're going to get into. We have a whole lecture on Bill-in here later on. And the key thing here is this is going to show you like a cost breakdown. You can see a table of everything you've spent in the clouds, any compute instances, etc. that you've used, a breakdown and set budgets and alerts. We can go back down. We've got support. This is where we can open up cases with Google. If we have any issues with GCP or we want to get chat or phone support, we go here. Identity and access management, which you'll also hear about more later on. This is all around our roles, our users, our identity, key management, things like that. Google has this fantastic getting started section as well for you. And you can see it's got things like begin with the basics, common tasks, some of the Bill-in things there as an example, top products people use. And they've got like little wizards and things that'll guide you through some of the services as well. So I encourage you to check out the getting started section. If we scroll further down, we've got the security section here as well. That's around looking at our security posture of the environment. And then we move into different subsets of services. So we've got compute services. These are things like App Engine, Compute Engine, Kubernetes Engine for containers. Scrolling down, we've got storage services, Big Table, Data Store, Firestore, File Store, Cloud Storage. Those are all here. Our network services, again, we'll get into all these later on, VPC networks, hybrid connectivity, etc. And then into monitoring with things like Stackdriver, which we'll use throughout the course to show you different things. Then finally, we've got the whole section on tools, and then big data services at the end here before moving on to cool things like artificial intelligence as well. So these are all the services available to you. If you remember from the previous lecture where we talked about the GCP overview, this is where you would go to say consume those individual services and put them into your project. And you'll learn more about all these services. Just want to give you a quick overview of the navigation menu there. The other areas you also need to be aware of are the search area on the top here, where you can search for resources and products. As your environment gets larger, obviously it gets more difficult to manage. Search is a quick way to get around. And you can also filter the search. If you click the filter options, you can filter by type of service. So these different services I showed you on the left. And you can also filter by specific projects, any project or the current project that you're in. So you can search across the entire environment if you want to. With that, then on the top right, we've got Activate Cloud Shell, and we do have some demonstrations on this as well later on. And this is basically giving you a command line environment without you having to install and set that up locally. So that's pretty beneficial. And you'll see in some of the follow-up lectures here, we'll talk about the different ways again to access Google Cloud. Then we got some help section here, notifications. This is going to show you all the things in progress, all your activities, and we'll get you alerted when projects are completed or resources have spun up. We've got settings and utilities. This way you can also set up all your preferences. So language options, communication for email, things like that are all available there for you. And then last but not least, we have the ability to make sure that we're in the correct Google account. So if you're using Gmail as your personal Gmail, then this is where you can switch and just make sure you're accessing from your correct Google account. So those are really the main features of the console itself. The one thing I'll just show you before I begin, and what's really exciting obviously, and the reason you want to learn Google Cloud, is just our ability to set up resources. So if you're completely new, we can head over to Compute Engine. I can look at any virtual machines I've got up and running already, or I can quickly start building machines. Again, we will go into this in more detail as we get into the lectures and demos later on, but we can go here straight away, create a new instance, give it a name, so I'll call this test VM1, choose a region, a zone where I want to put it, choose my family size, scroll through, and without going through all the settings now, because we'll cover them in detail later on, I can very, very quickly create a virtual machine. And you can see that's already created. It took about 10 seconds there to create. And now I can click this virtual machine, I can SSH into it. I've got a complete server up and running in just around 10 seconds. Windows takes a little bit longer, but the Linux ones spin up really, really quickly, and I'm ready to go. And that's really the power, again, just to reinforce, of cloud computing. In GCP, I've not only got virtual machines, but I've got all those other rich services that Google's made available for me, and they might be VMs running with applications on top of them. They might be Kubernetes clusters where I can deploy my containers. Lots and lots of options there ready for us to go. And with that, that concludes this very quick overview. I encourage you to log into the console, have a play around, look around the portal there, and move on when you're ready.